From the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, Prime Network proudly presents the American Bowling Congress, Reno Hilton Hotel National Team Challenge Grand Championship. And we welcome you to the Reno Hilton Lanes here in Reno, Nevada. And we have reached the championship match. A $10,000 first prize to the winner. Hello again, everybody. Jay Randolph along with Earl Anthony. Earl, here we are. It has been a special series, and we come now to the final two teams.
Yeah, Brunswick Rhino Pro I has just had everything going their way so far, Jay. Bob Ujvari has been outstanding. Their team has been very much a clutch team in the 10th frame of each game. Now they're up against what could be the best team amateur-wise in the country. In my opinion, Team Columbia has the three best amateur players in the country on one team in Mike Lichstein, Patrick Allen, and of course Rudy Kasimakis.
And of course here we are playing the Baker system, and it is 3 games for the championship and the $10,000 first prize.
3 games, total pins will decide it, and I think this is going to be a great match. Brunswick Rhino Pro, and they're not going to roll over for these guys, so we're going to have a great match. Should be exciting and close all the way.
We'll be back with the action, the championship. It is Brunswick Rhino Pro I from Buffalo. And from San Antonio, Texas, Team Columbia. The National Team Challenge Reno Hilton Grand Championship is being brought to you by the American Bowling Congress. Pride and service to bowlers since 1895. Make sure your league is ABC sanctioned. By the American Bowling Congress MasterCard. Get a grip on your finances with the ABC MasterCard. And by the Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority, offering the $100,000 Perfect Game Challenge. Team Challenge Grand Championship, and it will be Brunswick Rhino Pro I coming from the numbers 3 slot. Bob Ujvari to start it off. Lane 29, same place they started last week. A little high.
Leaving the 3 and, of course, the 6 pin. This is not an easy spare. The lane condition is a very fair condition. 25 feet of oil, buff to 35. Flat condition. The ball goes where you throw it. You have to make good shots to score. Be careful.
Oh, and they're open right off the bat. And now we get a look at Jimmy Johnson, bowling center manager, who has 5 regional PBA titles for Team Columbia. Starting it off on the Brooklyn side. Doesn't make any difference. Down they go.
Like they say, it looks good on the score sheet. They don't ask you how, it's just how many, right, Jay?
That's the truth.
This team, Team Columbia, is very strong. As I mentioned in the opening, they have 3 of the premier amateur bowlers in the country on their team. They have 2 regional pros to fill out the 5-man team, and they're going to be hard to beat.
Mike Firzak, 29-year-old quality control metallurgist. He has struggled at times, and then on the other hand, he has come through with some big strikes. Been a little inconsistent, the 2-4-5.
The best way to shoot this spare, I think, is to go down the left side of the lane right around the 3rd arrow, between the 2nd and 3rd arrow, and throw it right at it hard and straight. If you try to hook it into it, you increase the chances of chopping it or sliding by it. He's hooking it. Be careful. Ah, good shot. They got their first mark. They're off and going now. Let's see if they can take advantage of that Brooklyn strike by Jimmy Johnson here.
Round by round, Team Columbia first. That's what Earl was talking about. Very impressive. They were the winners of the North Brunswick, New Jersey regional in May. Here is Gary Shultis, 40-year-old contractor, has 4 PBA regional titles.
Actually, the two PBA members, which is Jimmy Johnson and Gary Shultis, are the 2 weakest members of the team, and they're professionals. So that'll give you an idea of how good the 3 amateurs are, who are bowling 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Of course, in the bowling world, the amateurs can accept money.
And they've accepted a lot of money, believe me. There's a look at the Patrick Allen and the young man in the yellow shirt, and right next to him was Rudy Revs. And there's their first open. Had to fit it between them, couldn't do it, so got a basically even match at this point.
Bob Santini, a bowling center manager and a former National Junior College Association singles champion. But great.
Yes, you're right. That's exactly what it was. Just a little late to the pocket, and that's a good call, Jay. It's well down the lane, at least 55 feet. Breaks in behind the head pin just enough to get the 9 out. There's his reaction. The team, you can see him. There's Bob Ujvari coming off the bench. Rudy Revs.
And a good-looking shot, but the 4-pin standing for Rudy Kasimakis, 28-year-old bowler, as you mentioned, known as Rudy Revs. He won the '89 Las Vegas high roller event, and that has a high prize value.
Very high. He's a very unique player. He's very, very strong physically. He doesn't slide. He plants his foot, pulls the ball through, uses all that strength, and he can get a tremendous amount of revolutions on the bowling ball.
He's a ripper. Well, we hope you're enjoying this championship. The National Team Challenge, the Grand Championship Finals from Reno, Nevada. We'll return right after these messages. Who works for the UPS folks as a delivery man. Oh, my.
And that's the penalty you pay if you use these, what they call reactive resin bowling balls that creates so much of a hook on the back end. Now he has to throw this hard, get it well down the lane to keep it from hooking early. Instead of hooking early, it hooks too late. Goes in behind the head pin, leaving the 3 and the 7. Very difficult spare. He has to slide the 3 across the lane into the 7 pin.
Brunswick Rhino Pro I defeated Thermocarbon 548 to 498. Now they're open. And then Rhino Pro I over Rhino Pro II, 601 to 559 to get to the championship. And you're looking now at 22-year-old Patrick Allen, a pro shop operator. And he's the youngest performer in this championship.
Crossover, only the 8-pin. Fortunate for Patrick there. The lanes are hooking a little more than he expected. Patrick, as you know, Jay, finished 2nd in this past year's ABC Bud Light Masters Championships in
down
Tulsa,
in Tulsa.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, right.
He can play. He's tough young man. He's a product of the times. You'll see how he rotates the ball, tremendous rotation. Everybody does what Mark Roth used to do when he was the only one that could do it.
That's right.
Here's a look at that style of Patrick Allen. Plant the foot, pull the ball through, rotate as hard as you can around the side, and lift it up. A lot of loft. Get everything you can into it. I don't know how they survive physically. I'd be in the hospital.
Mike Faliero. And the 10 is standing for Mike. Talking about Mark Roth, I suppose as much as any player, he had a lot to do with changing style in the bowling world.
I think of the changes, the major changes in how to play this game that have happened over the last 20 years, 2 people are instrumental. One is Mark Roth in his style of play. Everybody wanted to copy the big ball, you know, the big revolutions, the lot of ball speed and tremendous rotation. And the other was Don McCune for soaking a bowling ball and creating the soft shell and made it possible for everybody to be like Mark Roth.
Here's Mike Lichstein. He is 23 years old. And his dad, a good friend of ours, is the player director for the PBA, the fellow who does all the work out on the PBA tour, player services director.
Watch the style of this young man. This Mike Lichstein is another real fine amateur bowler, but if you looked at him, you'd say, I can beat this guy. But watch where he's at the bottom of the swing. Right there, he's perfect. That's what's important. There's a lot of ways to get to that position. As long as you can do it the same way every time, that's what counts.
And Ujvari comes back with a strike for Rhino Pro I.
He's been tough. He's the inspirational leader of this team right here. This guy is a fighter. Here he is bowling with a torn rotary cuff that he's going to have as soon as he leaves here and gets home, he's going to have an operation on his shoulder to relieve that. His shoulder keeps slipping in and out of the socket. It's dislocated. So how do you bowl like that? Jimmy Johnson is lost out there. That ball got away from him. Almost missed the head pin on the crossover side, leaving only the 5 pin. Very fortunate. This is a chance for him to line up on this lane, but unfortunately that was his second shot, and he's going to go to lane 29 with his next shot.
And Johnson's shaking his head, a little bit confused, as you mentioned, Earl. Team Columbia qualified 1, up by 10 pins. Mike Firzak has 5 local association titles to his credit. And a little high on the head pin. And you commented on his style last week, Earl. I guess you could call it a stand-up style, maybe.
Well, he does. What it does when you stand up at the foul line, which Mike does, you have a tendency to cut the swing short. If you cut it short, the ball wants to go left or high on the head pin, and this is the result. You don't reach out. You shortens the follow through, and it's kind of like pitching pennies. You don't flip it at the line, right? You kind of reach out for it, and Mike doesn't do that.
Gary Shultis carries a .217 average, 4 PBA regional titles over the years, 40 years old.
Very steady player, almost always gets you a spare or a strike. He's always in the pocket area. That particular shot wasn't like him. And this lane must be really hooking a lot more than they expected, because it looks like Jimmy Johnson was completely lost, and he's usually pretty steady in the pocket area. He's a good player. And of course, Gary, these two are both professionals. They know how to adjust to varying lane conditions, but they're both lost. Now, if the Rhino #1 team is paying attention here, they'll see that lane's hooking a lot, because they're going to bowl in that lane next game.
We're going to go away for a few moments. Team Columbia by 21 here in the championship of the National Team Challenge Grand Champ. 21 pins, a big strike a few moments ago by Rudy Revs. This the first game of the championship. Patrick Allen has it on the way, and he leaves the 7.
Patrick's a very good spare shooter. I don't expect he'll have much problem with this. He'll stand to the right side of the approach, go across the center of the lane with a lot of ball speed, and throw it hard and straight. And he, like so many players, has switched balls to a smooth shell that won't hook. 3 games, total pins, to decide the championship of the National Team Challenge.
Here's how the finalists got here. Qualifying in Baker, 195.6. Team Columbia, the 200.5 qualifying. There's a very talented group of 12 regional teams that came here. Mike Faliero. And he has been tough in the 10th frame, Earl.
And that was another great shot by Mike. He's, as you saw on the screen, 5 out of 6 times in the 2 previous matches, he has struck on the first ball in the 10th frame. This is one of his 2 misses, and that was a good shot. Could have been.
great crowds here, very knowledgeable crowds enjoying this competition here at the Reno Hilton. They've done a wonderful job in refurbishing the lanes here and this fine facility.
Great surface to bowl on. They're using 3-pound 8-ounce pins, and they're almost new. They've only been in the machines for about a month, so you've got to hit them to get them here. The lane condition is such that you can. If you make good shots, you can score. Now here again is Mike Lichstein, and this young man can play. He is tough.
A league average of 226. How good is that?
Well, where he makes it look good is when he needs one for money. This young man will definitely make good shots when they need him. That's why he's bowling anchor for the team.
Come on, Legit.
No sooner did I say it, and then guess what?
Boy, he didn't get it done there, did he?
No, and that's a big, big, big error this early in the match. It's obviously not crucial, but it hurts a lot. And he loses 5 pins in count. And there's another look at it. Watch the snap on the back end. See the ball turn over there? That's what they call when it flips. And that one really flipped early. Turned over. He can make this. This young man is going to go real hard. A lot of ball speed. And he's going to try to bounce it across the lane. Bounce the pins. Watch this. Oh, that's the worst shot I think I've ever seen Mike throw.
Well,
I wonder what he was trying to do there. That didn't make sense.
I'm not sure, but
they went from a possible 196 to 167, and that's a tremendous difference in this match.
And only 6 pins separating these two teams after game 1. We'll be back with game 2 right after this. And here is an 18-year-old student, Tim Shearer, who has replaced Jimmy Johnson for Team Columbia. And Shearer now becomes the youngest competitor in this championship competition. Patrick Allen, we told you earlier, is 22. This fellow's just 18.
That's an interesting change. Here you are in the championship round. You've already bowled one game. There's Jimmy Johnson, an experienced professional. He's bowled in pressure situations many times. And you go to an 18-year-old. Look at this. You're going to have to explain to me why someone would make that kind of a move.
Well, and the youngster very disgusted with his first performance here. And you saw that Rudy Revs wasn't pleased either. Bob Ujvari. Get lucky is heard him yelling, but
all right, you remember earlier in the first game we watched Jimmy Johnson go crossover. We watched Gary Shultis crossover. This lane obviously is hooking more than the players expect. They were sitting on the bench. They watched the whole game. They didn't make an adjustment. I can't believe what's going on out here. First you put an 18-year-old in for an experienced professional, and then you come out here and you got Bob Ujvari, who is very experienced, and he makes a shot like that, and he's going to miss the spare.
Oh, he didn't, but it looked like he was going to miss it.
That lane obviously is hooking a lot more than lane 29, and he never made a move. I'm surprised at that. And here's a look at that spare, almost a chop. Just enough.
Earl, we'll try to find out. Of course, I don't know who would make the decision on putting Shearer
Rudy Kasimakis is the team captain.
And maybe, of course, Johnson is the captain. Maybe he's not feeling well or something like that.
That's possible.
You know, we need to check that out, and we will try to do that.
I think they do everything by vote. I mean,
committee, huh?
Committee, yeah. The 5 guys, they work together as making decisions, and I think they all decided that Jimmy should sit out. But I still question the decision. But usually I'm wrong anyway, so.
Never.
Tough spare here. You want to get that ball to hit that back pin, and that's what he did. Great shot.
Some of your fans still think you're wrong for not bowling today, but you finally packed it in for good, didn't you?
I did, and I love the game, but I don't miss all the hard work that goes into being able to compete on the level of the professionals.
No, and the level, of course, which you wanted to compete, the highest level. Mike Firzak. And
almost got the break. Had the 4-9, a very difficult split in the pocket area. The ball just finishing a little high in the head pin. Tripped the 4 out, almost got the 9.
Yeah, the 9 wouldn't go for him.
As they bowl, the oil moves around, as most of you who are listening and watching know. The heads dry out, which is the first 15 feet of the lane, creates more ball friction, slows down the ball speed. When it slows the ball down, it loses energy, doesn't hit as hard, makes it harder to strike. So you have to make better shots.
Here are the match play records, and you could see that things are very close there.
You bet. Now here's a guy who doesn't worry about how the oil moves. You want to see somebody throw it hard, watch this. Hard and rotate. He can do that.
And I would think that the condition of these lanes could be helpful to Rudy Rebs.
Well,
maybe not.
Of all the players, he can dominate the surface more than anybody else that's out there. He can overpower the surface. You see him plant the foot, pull it through. The ball hooked a little more than he expected. Rudy, look at that. Watch him open up. The power of this man. Plant the left foot. No slide at all. Pull the ball through. He's remarkable.
Outside.
And he picks it up.
Here's a look at it. Now, I don't believe Rudy was trying to hit this on the outside. He might tell me he was, but generally you try to fit it between the two pins, hit the 3 pin on the left, and have the ball slide into the 10 or bounce into the 10.
Bob Santini gets the ball for Brunswick Rhino Pro I. You're watching the National Team Challenge Grand Championship from the Hilton in Reno. 7 pins separating these two teams. We'll be back. 27 pins over Team Columbia as we're in Game 2 of the championship of the National Team Challenge. Jay Randolph and Earl Anthony with you from the Hilton in Reno. Here's the big man, Rudy Rebs.
Their team on a strike, and Rudy wants this one badly. He wants to get down to his 4th and 5th players, which are both lefties. And he got a break. Wow, that's a terrible shot, and Rudy, look at Rudy. He's trying to pump his team up. That's a little psychology there. Now look at this ball. It leaves his hands right off the bottom of the swing. It's gone, and obviously it's going to go left. We've talked about that in the past. Had no chance to get to the pocket area. Now watch this. This is psychology for his team. He starts to walk away, then he goes, hey.
Down you will go.
Yeah, now look at Patrick Allen react to that.
Sure.
That's the idea there. Rudy's playing a little game there, a little head game.
And the chemistry in this Baker system, very infectious. Santini.
And this could be a real big turning point right here. Rudy gets the strike on the lucky hit. And Rhino Pro I on a good game going. They had 3 in a row. They were clean, no opens, on a strike here, and now the big split. Not that tough. It looks tougher than it is. He wants to get the ball on the left side of the 2 pin. It'll go over and take out the 10. The ball will take out the 6 and the 7. I mean, excuse me, the 4 and the 7.
Right.
Here we go. Got a chance. Just like that.
Big pickup that was.
You betcha. And look at his team. They're up there to meet him on the approach. And the reason is he kept them thinking we're a winner right here. He kept them thinking they're going to win this thing. If he had missed this, it tightens up the match. But look how well he played that. And that's a clutch shot from a clutch player right there. Look at him run it out.
Tremendous pickup.
Look at the crowd. They're into this, boy. I'll tell you what. Patrick Allen on a double. Here we go.
Feel it now.
You bet. We're getting into this now. We got some emotion going here.
You're looking at Pat Stefanik.
And they can't let up. If they want to keep this team from making a big run at them, they've got to answer every shot. Look out.
Now a problem for Brunswick Rhino Pro I and Pat Stefanik, who's Buffalo State team, with him on board, won the National Collegiate Team title back in '84.
This a much more difficult shot than the previous split. This he has to hit the 3 pin on the right-hand side and slide it into the 70. It's a much tougher shot. The ball's hooking away from the pin, and that's what makes it tougher.
Ooh, very close. We're here in Reno at the Hilton, and there is Ron Hughes. 35 years with the Hilton organization, a wonderful gentleman. Former Air Force veteran, and he and his people have made us feel at home here as they have hosted this National Team Challenge Grand Championship.
And here's Mike Lichstein with a chance to get everybody's thoughts. Forget about that 10th frame of the first game if he strikes here. Same thing.
Oh, my.
Same thing. Now,
history
those two
repeating
shots,
itself.
Those two shots, the 10th frame of the first game when he had the big 5 and only got one of them for 6 out, kept his team only in a 6-pin lead where it could have been 30. Now, with a chance to regain the lead, he gets the big 4. 2 of the biggest shots we've seen in 3 weeks, Jay, right there.
And nobody's more surprised than Lichstein.
And you see his team on the bench, they're holding their head in their hands. They can't believe it. And again, he gets the low count. And that is a mistake, mental mistake, because he loses pins there on the strikes.
Oh, that is a real killer.
Well, there again, they went from a possible 224 to 184. That's a 40-pin swing.
Mike Faliero.
That's unfortunate because Mike is just too good a player to have that happen to him twice. This guy has been phenomenal in the 10.
And got the 10-pin. A little late, but down it went.
He's been phenomenal. That's 6 times out of 8 tries that he has struck on the first ball in the 10th over a 3-week period. Little love tap on the 10-pin, and here's his reaction. Watch the team behind him. Look at there. What a change. What an emotional turnaround. When the young left-hander got the split in the 9th, they thought they were in real trouble. And what happens? Lichstein gets the big split in the 10th. Mike a chance to double here and add to their lead.
Finish.
Send it wide.
And it didn't quite get up. From the Reno Gazette-Journal, their bowling writer, Reginald Burton, on hand this afternoon. Wonderful press coverage for this National Team Challenge as they
even interviewed me, Jay. How about that?
Well, it's not the first time you've been interviewed, is it?
Well, this is going to come down to the last game. It's going to be a fine match. We talked about that in the opening. We thought it would be close, and it is.
2:03 in Game 2 for Rhino Pro I. A 13-pin advantage. It will come down to the final game. You'll see it next after these messages. Team Columbia and Brunswick Rhino Pro I. Bob Ujvari starts it off.
Well, what it comes down to, I think, Jay, is who's going to make the first mistake and which one is going to make the mistake that cost them this match. It's not anybody dominating by overpowering, shooting big scores. It's been a lack of mistakes that's gotten Brunswick Rhino Pro I into the lead at this point. Spare shooting the key. They have to make their spares. Okay.
And he picks up the 2-5, does Bob Ujvari. Now we have Jimmy Johnson back in the 1-6 position for Team Columbia. They've changed the lineup again. 4-pin.
And Jimmy Johnson in the first game was bowling in this position and never got the ball to the right-hand side of the head pin. He had 2 crossover hits. This one is the best shot he's made. This is a good shot. Could have been a strike. He has a lot of ball speed there. The ball's falling back as it goes down the lane. And be careful, Jimmy. Don't get hurt out there. Something must have bothered him a little bit there. Jimmy, an excellent spare shooter.
They've juggled the lineup for this final game. Lichstein will bowl 3 and 8. Johnson picks it up. Kasimakis will bowl 5 and 10. Back over to Brunswick Rhino Pro I and Mike Firzak.
Well, very uncharacteristically, if you've been watching, you realize that Mike Lichstein has made 2 huge errors in the 10th frame for his team that have cost them a possibility of a 40 or 50 pin lead instead of a 13-pin deficit. This is 3 games, Baker system, total pins. And under the Baker system, you must fill frames. We've talked about it, Jay, week after week after week. You make your spares. You try to not make the shot that really hurts you. And Mike Lichstein, unfortunately, has made 2 of those in the 10th frame for his team, so they've switched their lineup.
Here's Firzak going for the 2-4-5.
Hard and straight. Don't let it hook. Good shot.
We're in the final game of the Grand Championship. 10,000 to the winning team, 5,000 for second.
But more importantly, you get to say we're the national team champions.
That's right. Got them all.
Now Gary's coming on real good. He's made a couple of changes in his game here that are outstanding. He's picked up the ball speed and the loft. He's taking the first part of the lane out of play by throwing it over that part of the lane so it's not hooking early. Smart move by an experienced player.
Bob Santini. Strike for Santini.
And every shot, every ball can mean the difference between being the national team champion and being the team that everybody forgets, the one that finished second.
Another one of our fine sponsors, Lynn Shoes. Jeff Lynn, the president, on hand with us. Good to have him here for this championship.
Make the best bowling shoes, I think, in the world, Jay. Outstanding.
Yep. Now, Mike Lichstein.
Went from bowling fifth to bowling third. A little better shot there. He got the ball out in front of him, then it didn't finish. So
he got a big break.
Got a big break. But Mike's really struggling. The first two times that he got the big opens, the ball actually, he set it a little bit short, and it hooked early on him. This one, watch, he gets it well out in front. And he really forced it down the lane. Got it a little deeper or farther down. Didn't quite get back. And watch the break. The big break that Jay talked about. The 3 and the 6 falling down, leaving only the 7.
Interesting approach. Those first couple of steps really don't mean anything.
He kind of sneaks up on him.
Yeah. You're looking at Pat Stefanik.
And like I said, every shot is crucial, and they're on a strike here. A strike by Pat right now would really boost their morale, get them thinking we're going to win this. Look out, that's trouble. Oh, look at here.
It may have been trouble, but it was a lucky turn of events for Brunswick Rhino Pro I.
And I'll tell you what that does. It does two things. Here's another look at the shot. Watch it. Just go. It's when he let go of it, it was going right. He had no chance to hit the pocket. But what that does, it pumps his team up and makes them really come off the bench. And there they are. Look at this. But what it also does is it takes Patrick Allen's team and makes them think like, we can't get a break. They're getting all the breaks. The mental part of the game is really important right now. Especially if he were to get tapped here. If he were to leave a 7-pin or something, they would really be like that. Now they're going to be upset. Watch Patrick.
You called it.
Watch his reaction. He is really upset right now. He's thinking, what do we have to do? Look at his team. They're sitting on the bench. They're shaking their head. This is a team that right now is beat mentally.
And this was our top qualifier, Team Columbia.
Look at Jimmy Johnson. Patrick Allen must make this spare. You can't give up. You've got to work hard. You don't know what's going to happen. The Baker system, you've been watching this, folks. You know how quick it can change.
Team bowling at its exciting best.
Hang on.
Oh,
that's
my,
disaster.
That is disaster.
Now, see, that's a mental letdown. And that part of that might be the fact that he's a young man. He's only 22 years old. But look at Rudy Revs. You can see Rudy Kasimakis right there. He is disappointed, obviously. Brunswick Rhino Pro I on a double, a chance to extend the lead.
And they're already up by 32.
And this is the man that's been their anchor. He's been the guy that has been there when they needed him. That's really out the window. And that's fortunate right there. As bad as he threw that ball, he got a pretty good pin count. That could have been a washout. It could have been almost anything. And we'll get another look at that. Watch, he opens his shoulders, and when you do that, the ball goes the directions your shoulder is, and it just sent it way to the right. You get it out there, that's no man's land. They don't come back from there. That's the water hazard right there.
The water hazard.
That's the water hazard. In bowling, that's your water hazard. You get it out in no man's land. And there you can see the shoulders pointed to the right, the ball goes right. Hang on for the spare. That's all you want to do.
And he got it. Look at him.
Look at those eyes roll back in his head.
Well, you can imagine the pressure that's building up on these players.
Here's the 92 Andy Verapapa match game champion. Rudy Kasimakis needs a strike.
That's high. Crossed it over. Didn't get this strike. Now, they're still thinking. I guarantee you, it's going through their mind. Why can't we get the break? Why can't we get the break? You can see the temper there. He's slamming the balls around. Now, that's not good. We don't want to see that. This is make your spare, sit down, hope your team can get something going.
Will return for the completion of the championship right after this. Pro 1 leading by 28. Gary Shultis just a moment ago with a strike for Team Columbia. Bob Santini for Brunswick Rhino Pro 1. Down to the wire for the National Team Challenge Grand Championship.
And they've got to stay aggressive. They can't try to hang on. They've got to still attack the pocket. They're getting some breaks, Jay. They've been fortunate. They've had some balls go through high in the head pin or through the middle of the head pin. Didn't get the split. And that is kind of destroying the minds of the Team Columbia. Those guys are thinking, boy, you know, don't they ever get a bad break? Well,
you make your own
sometimes you
breaks.
make your own luck.
That's right. You make your own luck. And Brunswick Rhino Pro 1, coming from the 3 position, has been a charmed team to this point in the proceedings.
Well, this is what champions are made of. Now we find out if Team Columbia has what it takes to be champions, because they've got 3 frames. They're on a strike. They have plenty of room to pull this match out, starting right here with Mike Lichstein.
And Mike has had his problems.
Yes, he has. Here's a chance to redeem himself. If he were to strike here, that Team Columbia will be off that bench so quick, and it'll pump him up and get him back into the match. So if he throws a strike, they'll be ready to roar down, finish this match out.
Very unusual approach, the way he prepares to throw the ball.
He doesn't look until he starts. See that? He was looking at the floor. He'd already taken 2 steps. Oh, he set it short. He set it short. Back to Brooklyn. Watch this. Look at these guys. See there? That pumped him up. That lucky strike. They're thinking, hey, we finally got a break. Here's another look at it. That ball came off his hand right at the bottom. Had never even got it to the foul line. Crosses over, trips the 4-pin. Here's a chance now. Rhino, they have to answer. They have to come back. They can't back down. And he did. Same place.
Pat Stafanik with a huge strike here.
All right. Now remember last time Patrick Allen threw the ball and they were on a strike. They had a chance to get back into the match. He left a solid 7-pin. Here he goes again, folks. Another chance to put his team back in the match.
And he's psyching himself up. Look at him.
I saw him at the American Bowling Congress Masters Championships make a lot of key good shots under pressure. He's taken a lot of time here. It's a big shot. The biggest shot for his team of the year right here. Threw it well. Solid 6.
A solid 6 indeed. And look at Rudy.
That could be the difference. Remember, Brunswick Rhino, they're number 1. They're team number 1. They have the man that's been the best clutch player of all the teams coming up in the 10th frame. He has produced in the 10th frame 6 of 8 times. If he makes it 7 of 8, you can forget it.
That's Mike Faliero you're talking about.
That's right. If he makes 7 of 8 strikes, 7 of 9, excuse me, you can forget it. It's over then. And he'll bowl first in the 10th before Rudy gets up.
$18 pins as we come down to the wire.
Strike here, it's over. He must strike here to end the match. If he were to open, anything could happen. You don't want to give Rudy a chance to beat you in the 10th, because he can do it. Oh, good shot. Good shot.
The 10 pin.
10 pin only. Tough spare in this situation, let me tell you, folks. Here's a look at it, and this is a great shot. And to this kind of pressure, this is a fantastic shot. Right there, a little bit behind the head pin. That was the reason for the 10 pin. Cross lane, a lot of ball speed. Hang on.
Oh, boy.
That's a winner.
That is a winner. And the Brunswick Rhino Pro I team out of Buffalo, New York has won the Grand Championship.
All he's got to do is keep it on the lane, and they're a winner, Jay. And I think Mike will be very careful with this one.
Well, I'm sure he will.
Now's the time to throw it hard and straight, right at the middle of the head pin. Don't try to get fancy.
And a very disappointed Team Columbia. A lot of agony on those faces.
They led it from the get-go, the whole tournament, and then to lose it in one game.
Happiness reigns. Brunswick Rhino Pro I with victories over Thermocarbon, Brunswick Rhino Pro II, and Team Columbia have won it here at the Hilton in Reno. Rudy Revs finishing it up as the two teams share congratulations. And this is quite a story, Earl, the way this bunch, the Brunswick Rhino Pro I team, hung in here. Yeah, they got some breaks, but they kept plugging and plugging and plugging, and they got the job done. And it has been a remarkable
Well, really, the breaks of the match, Jay, are negative breaks. It's remarkable that a player like Mike Lichstein would have the unfortunate thing happen to him that happened to him twice in the 10th frame, the first and second games. Those big splits were the difference in the match. There's no question about it. That was deciding the turnaround points in this match.
They have earned the mythical title, Best Bowling Team in America, in the National Team Challenge that has introduced this new format for television bowling competition. 546 for Columbia, 563 for Rhino Pro I. They're our champions.
Well, that was exciting, Jay. It was close. That's the way it should be for the championship. It was great.
We'll return for the presentations right after this. Challenge Reno Hilton Grand Championship has been brought to you by the American Bowling Congress MasterCard. Get a grip on your finances with the ABC MasterCard. By Balfour, maker of championship ring awards. By Lynn Shoes for the performance approach. It's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of better bowlers worldwide. And by the Reno Hilton Hotel, host of the Grand Championship event. Let's go to Earl now and the pin breaker break of the match.
And really, it was twice in this last game. Pat Stafanik crossed over in the 4th frame, did it again in the 9th frame, and that's the pin breaker break of the match, because what it did, it destroyed Team Columbia mentally. At this point in the game, they just kind of gave up, Jay. It was all over.
Yeah, we could see the starch go right out of them. No question about that. And happiness reigning right there. Here's the final score. Brunswick Rhino Pro I in the championship, defeating Team Columbia. And congratulations, Mike Firzak, to you and your bunch. What a wonderful win for you.
Oh, it's great. This is super. Everything here was run first class. We'd like to thank the ABCs for running it, the Hilton for hosting it. I'd like to make a special thank you to our sponsor, Brunswick, and Doug Heim for getting us all the equipment and everything. Very fortunate. We had a lot of good breaks.
And you made some good breaks, I said. Huh? Yeah. All right, well, let's get to the presentations. First of all, Earl Dobbs, who is the executive director of the American Bowling Congress, with the plaque for you.
Who said team bowling's not exciting? It was a great match, guys. A gutsy performance. We're proud to be part of the National Team Challenge. Next year, the World Team Challenge. Please come back and defend your title. Take this back to the good folks at Brunswick, Fred Firzak and Brian Collins and the boys, and great bowling. Congratulations, Mike, guys. Nice going.
All right, Mike, pass that down, and I'll bring in Ted Molinas, the president of the American Bowling Congress, who has these beautiful Balfour rings to present.
Thank you, and congratulations, Mike. It's a pleasure. The best assignment I've had since I've been president.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
You really gave us a lot of excitement. Thank you.
Those will look good on you, won't they?
Oh, great. We can't wait. Thank you.
All right. And now the president of Lynn Shoes, Mr. Jeff Lind, who has a special presentation and more than I expected.
Well, on behalf of all the Lynn Shoe employees, we want to present you with 5 shoe tournament sets, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you
This
very
was
much.
terrific.
Thank you.
Congratulations again, Mike, and you fellas really made it happen. It's got to be a big thrill to be known as the best bowling team in America. And congratulations to all of you. And thank you for being with us out there. For Earl Anthony, this is Jay Randolph saying so long from Reno. And a reminder to get your team involved in the World Team Bowling Challenge for 93-94, contact the American Bowling Congress. This has been an ABC Eagle Productions telecast.